Hey all, welcome back to the school year. This is Principal Carter, and this is part of our staff development. I wanted to send the video out to you for you to pre-watch so we can start a discussion in our staff development time here at the beginning of the school year. The topic of this presentation is people first language from me as your principal, and discussing what it is and how we are going to start utilizing and make sure that we are utilizing people first language in our school. So first off, what is people first language? Um, First off, people with disabilities are the largest minority group in the world. 1 in 5 Americans have a disability, and so it is very prevalent in our schools today. You can expect 1 in 5 students in general to have a disability of some kind. Something we need to focus on are students are more than their IEP or 504. I feel like a lot of times like, oh, they're a SPED kid, and we focused on the IEP and 504 instead of the student's interests, how they're creative in class, and just their personality in general. But people first language is putting the person first. We don't need to define people by their disability. Instead, we talk about them as a person, and then if the conversation needs to have or talk about, we can mention their disability, obviously, because we need to help them in their learning. But their disability definitely does not define them as a person. I thought this picture was a good one for this, which is the saying, label jars, not people. But why is people first language important? Because it puts the emphasis on the person, not the disability. You don't want to be defined by something that you cannot change. And these disabilities are something that they cannot change, and so we don't want to put all the emphasis on that. We need to put it on the person and who the student is. It also lets the person know that we value them. We value their importance. We value their individuality. We value their capabilities. And we know that they are capable of doing great things. And if we only define them by being disabled, we are not showing them that they are valued. So how should this affect you, me, all of our staff members here at our school? We need to speak respectfully to and about all. We need to be considerate. We need to be thoughtful, be purposeful, be specific. We don't want to generalize all these people in one population. They're all individuals. And then unless it is relevant, there's no need to even mention the disability. If we're just talking about the student and the kind of person, their interest, why do we even need to mention their disability if it doesn't affect the conversation? So it shouldn't be, hey, there's the kid with the disability, they do this. No, it's they're involved in things. We don't, unless the disability is pertinent to that conversation, there's really no need to even bring it up. So I wanted to give you guys some examples of how that we need to speak the right way so that we are giving respect to the people with disabilities, and how we should speak the right way. So on the left, I have how we should speak, and on the right, I have the wrong way that we definitely do not want to be using. So the first one is very basic, and that is person who is disabled. We are putting the person first, and then we are talking about that they're disabled, instead of the wrong is a disabled person. That is defining the person by being disabled. Okay, the right way is a person. Okay, and then they have a disability. It's not there's a disabled person. So I gave some two very specific type things that might pop up in your conversations, things like this. So the right way to say something is, hey, that is Megan. She loves learning, reading books, doing projects with her hands. She has a learning disability. And this would be in a conversation between teachers about maybe her strengths or weaknesses, maybe in an IEP meeting or preparing for an IEP or 504 meeting, or just in general talking about a student. The wrong thing to say would be, that kid has a learning disability and is on an IEP. Her name is Megan. Okay, especially at the beginning of the year when you're meeting students, you don't want to automatically define them. Oh, they're on an IEP. Oh, they're on a 504. Okay, that's not respectful, and that is definitely not the way we should be talking about these students. Another example, the right way to say something. Jeff loves playing basketball, playing video games, and hanging out with friends. He doesn't let being in a wheelchair stop him. Okay, Jeff is a normal student. He happens to be in a wheelchair, but that does not define him as a person. Defining him that way would be the wrong way to say it. Would be the kid in the wheelchair is still able to play basketball, likes playing video games and hanging out with friends. First off, we don't even mention his name. We just generalize him as that kid in the wheelchair. Okay, that's disrespectful and is not going to be accepted in our school. So we got to make sure that we are talking the right way. And then this is something that I have even heard before, even when I was a teacher. The right way to say something would be students with Down syndrome instead of, oh, yeah, that Down syndrome student. No, that is just defining their disability and then mentioning that it's a student. We should talk about the student first and then mention the disability if it pertains to that conversation so that we can help them reach their full potential. So, our goal for the school year, I want our staff, and myself included, all of our teachers, paras, custodians, you name it, in our building, I want us all to be understanding, respectful, caring, and most importantly, inclusive of all students, whether they have a disability or not. We should not define them by that disability. So, if you have any questions, feel free to come ask any questions regarding this topic. I'm here for you, and all of us are here for the students. So, please feel free to come down to my office, come talk to me. I'll come down to your room if you want me to, but shoot me an email. And if you have any questions regarding why we have to talk this way, why we need to address students this way, I will be happy to answer them and give you the research that I have done and give you the research behind why we do these things. I'm looking for an awesome school year. I know you're going to do what's right for the students.